Afternoon.
Afternoon.
Call this meeting to order, the financial management meeting. Today is December the 3rd. It is a little past 3:30. Looks like we have quorum. Anyone want to do the invocation?
Lord, we're grateful for all that we have. We're grateful for all the blessings that we receive from you each and every day. Lord, help us to be discerning. We covet wisdom from above. Help us to always make the right decision. Lord, let us do things here in a very friendly manner. There be no malice. Lord, we are grateful for what we have here. Be with the citizens of this county. Keep all of us safe. We ask this in your Son's name, Jesus Christ.
Amen. We did not put out a sheet for recognition of the public. If anyone would like to speak in recognition of the public, all right. Approval of minutes.
So moved.
Oh, you know what? Yeah. I'm so sorry. I put that. I'll do that. So let's finish up with the approval of minutes since we're already there. We got one motion, a second? Minutes. All in favor? Approval of minutes done. Approval of the agenda.
So moved. Oh, no, minutes, no.
Approval of the agenda, a motion.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? We have an agenda. The next item up is report of the chairman. For item A, we have on Zoom the vendor that we discussed last meeting. If everybody remembers, they wanted to still address this committee. If that's okay with you. Hello?
Yes, I think now I can hear you. How are you?
Excellent. So, Paul, could you introduce yourself and the name of your company?
Yeah, absolutely. This is Paul Stern with This Now Automotive Equipment Corp. Thanks so much for allowing me to be on the call today.
Not a problem. I did try to contact you to discuss kind of what you'd like to tell our committee. We did discuss your item at our last meeting, and I understand you have some information you would like to share with us.
Yeah, absolutely. So just a little bit of background. We were a vendor that I guess submitted a bid for a project of yours that either City or Public Works went out for requisition for. We were the apparent low bidder, but then were rejected on the basis of essentially a one-letter typo in our bid. Every other specification was met. I alerted the folks to this. I was then told essentially there was no real protest period or real protest procedure, which, sort of rubbed us the wrong way. And sort of more than that, the typo was sort of disallowed for us to make an award, but even in the notice of award, the awarded vendor, there was a typo, in the awarded vendor's name. So it was, for us, we do an awful lot of these projects, and, to be thrown out, especially still saving, the taxpayers' money with a product that needs to exceed the specifications, to be thrown out over, a letter, and then also procedurally not to even be able to protest for staff to not have a knowledge of that procedure was really, for us, kind of where the rubber hits the road, and why I'm here today.
I understand. Does anyone have some questions? Paul, I appreciate you coming in and explaining this. I'd like to give the committee time to think about what you said. We did vote at our last meeting to proceed with the other bidder. I would like to take a look at county procedures a little bit more, but we have voted on the item already.
Yeah, so I don't know, again, I understand kind of where that puts the project and, you know, the county. I'm not really sure, again, you know, in light of, you know, essentially, you know, we're leading the agreed vendor. I'm not sure in light of that stuff, you know, even why that project is able to proceed again over a typo. I understand that puts you folks, you know, squarely in the ability to proceed with that project however you really see fit. And I recognize that, but just procedurally and also, you know, I mean, it just, to me, it really doesn't make any sense to be thrown out over essentially a single letter. And even in the county's own award letter, you know, it says, you know, they're awarding it to, you know, central tenant proceed with it. I mean, you know, even that was misspelled, you know, so, I mean, somewhat ironically, you know, the county is able to, you know, to make a typo and it doesn't affect anything, but if, you know, we're to make a typo, you know, it sort of, you know, costs us and the taxpayers money. So that's kind of where my problem is at. I hear you that you folks may want additional time, and I understand what, you know, voting, you know, means practically speaking, but I would ask the group even what it symbolizes procedurally to move forward with that project.
I understand. Thank you for coming and explaining that. We, like I said, we did vote on this item last time, but I will be glad to look into what procedures we have and stuff. The typo, just to be clear to the public, that is a different public here than we had at our last meeting. The typo was in the part number, I believe, in the confusion. But we will ask our finance department to review our procedures in that manner going forward. I appreciate your time. Oh, just one moment, Paul. I have a question from the lawyer.
This, if I may, this part number you referenced as a typo, that typo was actually an existing part number as well, was it not?
It was, and there were, you know, there was a gross source division along with it that showed a few different part numbers. It was essentially just a configuration. But to be honest with you, and again, I understand and respect where you guys are at, but, you know, to be honest with you, you know, usually a low bidder, you know, this really, for us, falls squarely in, you know, waiving an informality. It's a lot like if a vendor misspells their name and you awarded a vendor's name that was misspelled, quite respectfully.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you for presenting this, and if the committee decides to take any different actions from last meeting, we'll let you know.
Okay, sounds good. I'll be on the lookout.
All right, thank you. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, goodbye.
Bye-bye.
So, that item, if anyone would like a motion to revisit this? No. Okay. We'll go on to the next item. Item B, candidate search update. I know the last time I saw the candidate that the mayor had brought forward through his search was here in this room at the meet and greet, but I'm not sure. I think that legal has went out and did some background, but I don't know where we're at with the rest of it. Background?
Yeah. I have done a cursory background check, actually more than cursory. Everything has come back with no issues. The only thing I didn't do was reach out to any of his references because I did not know if this committee actually wanted to take that upon themselves or if you even wanted me reaching out to any of the references. So that's the only thing I haven't done. But I've done a criminal background, driver's license. I've done credit-related background, and everything was nominal. So
did that include the licensure background?
Yes, that it was active. Yes. and I entertain any questions you may have beyond that.
How far back is that go?
I believe I went back at least 8 years.
So as far as where we go from here, I spoke to the candidate. I think I've been very vocal about I was wanting more on-hand budget experience and stuff, but Mr. O'Neill seems very nice and has tons of great experience at the comptroller's office. I don't know if any of the others of y'all can share what your thoughts are.
I think it's important that the committee reach out to the references and maybe bring this up next month.
Mayor, I'm happy to do that.
Okay. Excellent idea.
Whatever you need as far as contact information from me, just reach out if you need it. You may already have it in the attachments. I believe the mayor has posted some of that stuff.
I would like to talk to the folks at the comptroller's office. That would give the most background and understanding what that would be, so that would be good. So I'll try to get that accomplished before the next meeting.
Just let me know what you need.
And I would like to say I did like some of the earlier recruiting firms, some of their offers and their contracts. And one of the things that they offered was that they would give the potential candidate a problem to solve. So I think I might call Mr. O'Neill and just give him some of our problems and ask him for input. See how. And I'll report back what he said. That works for everyone. Do we have a date for the next meeting? It's a good time to decide. So our next meeting will be in January. The reason that Ms. Browning is asking for that is that we're heading into budget. So if this meeting goes late, after county commission meeting in January, we will not have a finance director until February. I think it'll be. So what we're discussing now is having this meeting before county commission in January. I think that's your point, or something to consider.
I'd encourage first week in January, everybody's in town. Maybe the 8th, Thursday, or the 7th.
So we've got your initiative. I'm good with 7.
I'll be good.
Everybody good for the 7th?
3:30.
I'm good at 30 works for me.
Can I back up and ask a question of Ms. Brown here? I know that candidate Bev spent some time with your group. Could you report out on that, how that went, and if you have any particular comments, good or bad?
It actually went very well. Jeff and I spoke for at least an hour and a half. And then we met in 3 small groups with each employee in finance, just so they could meet in if they had any questions. He and I talked about some issues, things, I guess, to be aware of coming into that position. Some things that need to be focused on. We talked about the budget, and things that, we're going to have to get cranked upon sooner rather than later. As far as that goes, we did discuss, I know it's being mentioned that he doesn't have a lot of office management experience per se, but as far as managing the finance office, I actually handled more of the day-to-day stuff of that aspect than David did. David handled the higher level things, where I handled the day-to-day issues. One thing that, well, not just one, I guess, but Justin has, knowledge of TCA and GASP and GAP. His several years experience in the comptroller's office. He knows the auditing side. He knows what they look for, when they come in audited. David also had, I believe it was 6 years with comptroller before he went to Greene County for 6 years before coming here. Those 6 years at comptroller's office were very beneficial to the finance department. And I think with Justin having even more, that, you know, that would be beneficial to us as well. I think whoever you get, there's going to be a learning curve. His learning curve wouldn't be on that side of it. It would be more on producing a budget, learning our purchasing policies, you know, those sorts of things. Even though he has audited Sumner County, so he has some knowledge of that. He does have munis experience. He assisted, I believe he said it was Madison County with implementing munis, so he does have some of that experience as well. So that would be beneficial too.
I had dinner with him for an hour and a half. The auditing side of it, couldn't ask for anything better. But the initiation of a budget, working with the various elected officials, that kind of thing, that's where I would kind of like to see if we've got any other folks as candidates that might have that. We're drawing in a very small pool here in the state of Tennessee. It's been out for a while, but I would like to see what the headhunting organization's got going forward.
Can I ask a question of the law director? The fact that Justin has audited Sumner County, been part of that engagement, is there a conflict period that we would need to be aware of? Whereas, I mean, if he opined or did any kind of a test work in the state, could he come in and do a test work for us if he needed to? That's a question. I don't think so, but it's something I'll throw out there. And it could be a 90-day thing, could be nothing. I don't know.
I can do a deep dive on that, but just on the surface, I don't see where there'd be a conflict unless he was drug into some litigation with the state in another county. Anything he might have audited, but that would have nothing to do with Sumner. I don't know how recently he did Sumner County. I don't think it's been very recently. Does anybody know?
He's been working with auditors on the 25 audit.
Has he?
He's been pulled off, as I understand it, been pulled back from the comptroller's office.
But there's an ability to ice them out if that happens, because this is not uncommon with state employees. For one, I've seen it in the legal profession and other licensed professions as well. I will look deeper into it. If something jumps out, I'll let the committee know. But I don't see anything.
I think they've already iced him out of the comptroller's office just for good practice, just because he's a candidate. So it sounds like they're taking the right steps anyway from there. But I just wanted to offer up a question for you to get thoughts on.
Chairman Boyd. I spoke with him for about half an hour, and I found him to be very congenial, easy to get along with. I asked him how he felt about taking on the HR duties that are apparent in budget, and he said that he felt like he would appreciate having an HR department because he wasn't sure if that's something that he wanted to do, but he also did not know how many counties had HR. I just think it's something that we have to bring up since it falls on finance to take care of personnel files, etc. for county employees.
Even when we had an HR department, we still took care of the personnel files.
It was a discussion that we had. It was
And to address part of that, not that it falls under this, when I did some research on the HR departments, I found there was something like 15 counties out of 95 that had HR departments. It has to do with the structure of our government. and how county officials don't like.
I understand, it was just, I thought it was
But
important that
it
we
is very,
discuss
it is a very important conversation that this committee might want to take under advisement to look at maybe contracting some of our HR functions, the pieces that our elected officials do not want to handle themselves.
And we don't handle everything, the law office handles.
Yes.
parts and-
So maybe that's a topic for, we could address coming up, is what pieces we would like to have.
Perhaps, I just.
If
wanted
you'd like to
bring
take
that up.
lead on that, Commissioner Bergdorf, I'd appreciate it.
We'll discuss that in January, you can add that to the January agenda.
Speaking to, Commissioner Brown, I do agree with, Commissioner Brown. I would have liked to have seen us go out and put Mr. O'Neill through the recruiting, process.
McNeil.
McNeil, I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
Is it Neil?
No, it's just Neil?
Just
I thought it
Neil.
was McNeil.
Just
Okay, it's
Neil.
Neil, sorry. Don't listen to me.
But it would be, however, the committee, if you wanted to make a motion, and we would see what the will of the committee is, or,
Well, and as I said, I feel as he is a top candidate, but I'm just very concerned about the initiation of budgets and working with all the departments, as far as that's concerned, and I just did not see that as a strong suit. He is great as an analyst and auditing and all that kind of stuff, but there's another side of this coin, and making that budget is a very big part of it. And I'll go ahead and make a motion that I would like to go ahead and engage the group that's searching for a financial director.
I will second that. And I know that comes with a cost. I think it's about $24,000 to $30,000, but I will second it just to get it. But I think, Mr. Neal would do well in a group of people, and we could see that too. Does anyone have any other discussions before we take a vote?
We had passed the motion to give it 90 days.
Till our next meeting, this one.
I think we're going to be stuck at some point, just have to make a decision about the best way to move forward. Because if we go with the search firm, we're looking at probably March or April before we would hire a candidate, and that's going to put us behind the 8 ball on budgets. And if we get somebody from out of state, it's going to take them a while. There's going to be a huge learning curve to learn Tennessee. So, I think the men and women that work at the comptroller's office, even though they may not have done a budget and put together, they've worked with lots of local officials, and I think they've got a huge. I know, like, we have a gentleman that used to work at the comptroller's office, and it's been amazing to have him on staff because if we get something where we need an answer, he knows who to call at the comptroller's office and we get an answer quickly. And so, I think any candidate, you're probably going to come up with a list of things where they're strong, areas where they're going to need support. And, if we feel good with him, then I would feel comfortable. I'd be opposed to the motion because I think we'd probably possibly lose this candidate if he knows what we can get from out of state. So, but I think, I think the good thing about Sumner County, I would say this, with our elected officials and our department chairs and Mayor Isbell, they've run lots of budgets and can kind of help provide support on that.
And also, I think his strength, and then you have his strength with audit, that's very difficult to replace. That's very difficult to find. His weakness is finance department's strength right now to bring him up to speed. Beth will be able to work with him. She does an excellent job with budgets. And I think she will, working alongside this gentleman, I think will be a great tandem to move the county forward. I would be opposed to doing this, but I do think we need one more month to give everybody an opportunity to talk to personal references and for you to do your test case, whatever you want.
I was looking for free advice.
So yeah.
Let's see how it comes.
So I would be opposed to this motion as well.
And I would just like to say, from this committee standpoint, we did ask budget to start this process back last April. So no shadow falling on us for trying, and it continued to get thrown down as far as timing. So we have a motion and a second. Take a vote on going back to look for a group of candidates. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
No.
Noes have it.
I'm going to abstain, because I wanted to wait till January.
All right, next item is a report of the county mayor.
No report, Madam Chairman.
And under the report of the law director, we have the library director's salaries. And, I think we all have several things to, work out. If you could tell us, I know that I have the history of how this all came about. Do you want, who wants to do the history of how this got here so that this committee can be aware of what we're talking about? I know that you have pieces of the history. You have pieces of the history, and I've just read a lot of emails and made a couple of phone calls. So who would like to begin?
So we were, I was notified after the October 30th library board meeting that the library directors for Westland and Harrisville had been hired. I reached out to the library board chairman to see when their start date would be. Turns out it's on October 31st. Turns out it was that day. So I instructed her that they need to come in that day to do paperwork, has to be completed no later than the first day of employment. She came with the two candidates that afternoon, and during that time she asked me what their salaries would be. I looked in the budget document, I wrote those down, got it to her and told her this is what's in the budget. And those are the salaries that she put on their paperwork, and that's what they've been paid.
Got one pay cycle? They didn't pay one or two pay cycles?
There's pay six, there's two of them.
They might have gotten full hours at first payroll, this is the second full payroll.
Guess that's my question, is how we got here. I mean,
So can I ask you, without any,
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules.
yes, that's what I was going to ask for. Thank you. Any opposed? Second. So, I know, Annette, that you sent out an email and asked them. Can you address that? So in your email, you told them that we needed, and I'm reading it here, that we need to get this ratified as soon as possible so that we can continue to pay at these rates. It's an email, it's in our package.
Oh, mine's just tighter. That's what I'm just.
Okay. So, I understand that finance reached out and everybody knew it needs to be taken care of. And do you want to address, you said they need to take care of it?
Yes, I was asked to come over and give some guidance on what to do. They were already hired, so I said, you can go ahead and nail me do it on this one. Go ahead and pay him because this is not worth me entertaining a lawsuit on the county's behalf for not paying people. So I said, go ahead and pay it out of that line, and then the library board will need to have some sort of vote just to confirm what that pay rate's going to be. That's when I said, it probably all happened the same day as this email, but I asked Annette to send an email explaining what we were doing and that needed to be ratified ASAP so we could get a complete and proper onboarding of the employees.
And we still have suspension of the rules. Ms. Parker, you're from the library board, so y'all are going to have a meeting to get this corrected.
But we were told after the day that the directors came and needed a training with finance, we got an email that afternoon that we would meet on Friday for this specifically to be handled. And then we never saw it posted and whatever, so I think on Thursday, somebody asked a question, and then
and I think about, I don't see an agenda, I don't see it on the calendar, and I know we have to have it at least 2 days. And then Erica responded and said we were not going to meet, that she had sought some counsel about this, and that she had been advised that this was not an urgent matter to handle. And I responded to that email that she sent and said, well, I know I'm new to the party, but finance sent us an email that said, yes, this needs to be handled immediately. You had sent an email that said, as the chairman of this meeting, yes, this needs to be handled. Commissioner Bergdorf had also chimed in and said, yes, that as a budget member of that committee and of this meeting, we need to vote on this. And we did not vote on anything other than hiring them in that October meeting. But that's the last bit. I never haven't gotten an answer to the email I sent that day, just trying to figure out who you had talked, who did you seek counsel from. I'm confused about why this is suddenly not an urgent thing, but I've never gotten a response.
Thank you.
Let me ask you just a quick question, and we can continue to suspend if you like. So are there two votes that need to happen, one to hire and one to pay?
There's a vote, there should have been a vote on the start date, and then there needs to be a vote on their salary. Also, this board, as it's currently constituted, has never hired a library director off the street. They have promoted from within, and when we have promoted from within, we have had to vote on their new pay. So we didn't have a base pay for the library directors. We don't have a probationary period for them. Nothing of that, and I went back and watched the videos and looked at the minutes. The videos don't talk about a probation period or starting pay. They don't, none of the minutes, none of this is discussed, and even when they were interviewed, none of it was video, none of it. So there's no information, and it did not occur to me to even ask about their pay, because until the November 12th or 14th meeting, when I said to one of the new library directors, as a matter of fact, I don't even know how much you're making. So when I woke up the next morning, it occurred to me, we never voted on their pay, because it had been going on since May. So we had never voted on any of that. And it does need to be done. I called Wesley Robertson at CTAS. He said, you absolutely need to vote on their starting pay and their terms of employment and whatever. So, I contacted finance that Wednesday morning after I went through the minutes and video and saw there was no documentation of any of it. And I contacted Mr. Weiner. Then I contacted finance. Then I think I told them, call the law director, because Mr. Weiner didn't know what to do. And then I talked to the law director that afternoon, and he said that he had told them to go ahead and do this. And I suggested to the law director that it was not within his purview to assign pay, to slide them into, and sliding them into a, with the board, it's not one person to just put them into somebody else's pay line. That was it. So that's why we're here now. It bothers me that the chairman of the library board does not think these things are important, when they actually are important, because they affect the pay and the work, that they affect people's lives and people's pay. And I know it's not a who did what wrong. It's we need to correct this process immediately so we can move forward. And it's a learning curve for the new board, and hopefully it will never happen again.
And I think that was what I sent out an email to the library board, and I asked them, and I think that I outlined it. Maybe I outlined it too firmly, as why she thought I was overreaching, or urgent, but I felt like it needed to be addressed. So here we are, and this is what we have.
So, how does the pay, the salaries that are sitting in front of us here line up with the other directors that are working right now?
Do you want to speak on the salaries, or do you want to let him finish that one? Is it on the
And
salaries?
again, I don't dispute the fact I've got no authority over the library board. However, I was making a legal decision based on potential outcomes from this, not paying situation. I did, after the email was sent, I did talk to the chairman of the library board, and the sense of urgency came up. I said it needs to be done as soon as possible, and they wanted to know where the urgency came from, and I said, well, let's flip the roles here. Let's say I didn't overstep and make sure these people got paid and they're not getting paid. How much of an emergency would it be then? So my point on that was it's not so much whether they're getting paid or not getting paid. It needs to be corrected now.
And if I could step in, I think I can make this go a lot faster. And just to briefly answer your question, it's not a lot of difference between those.
No, and that's where I was headed on this to Mr. Ellis's question was, I said, what you're doing here is you're assuming the pay line is just what everybody gets. A pay line is a pay line.
Mm-hmm.
What you pay them is based on experience. I do not know if the library board deems them worthy of the full line or not full line, or
Exactly.
or that's a period of growth for them to grow into that pay line. I do not know, and it's not my authority.
And if we could step forward, I think when I sent them the email, I just said, we really need this fixed now. And they set up a meeting to meet and discuss it and take care of it, as our library member, Ms. Parker said. And then they decided not to, and their next meeting is the end of January.
Yeah, I think my concern would be, I'm interested to hear, how long does this have to go before it becomes an audit finding?
Well, I have a motion before we
I'm sorry.
go there. That's
I'll
fine.
stop.
I would like to make a motion that we get this cured, let's say before next Friday, not the, but the one after 7 business days. Ask the library board simply to meet and cure this problem. And if not, we put the two directors on a leave of absence until it is cured by the library board. They just need to cure it.
Unpaid leave of absence.
Because it hasn't been.
Because we
So
don't
we've
know
got
if
7
there's
days.
fallback or anything. And the longer it goes, the
I mean,
more.
if y'all want to discuss it some more, but that was my,
financial
just to jump to an answer.
I'll second it so we can discuss.
Okay. I got a motion, a second, discussion.
Here's my concern, is we have people that we have voted to hire for their library board position.
Mm-hmm.
I hate, they're showing up at work every day doing the job. I hate not paying them, but then on the flip side, I hate the fact that you, in the course of your duties as commissioners, made a very simple request that was I don't think you were too firm. I think you asked them to do what needed to be done because we all have to follow the right processes and procedures. I think the law director tried to help them get there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why all of a sudden when all you have to do is have a meeting and set the official start date and the pay, which clears it up for finance, I don't understand how that's unreasonable. So I'm stuck because I don't want to put two people that are working in a spot to not get paid right at the holidays. But at the same time, I don't know what other tool we have to force them to do what they need to do.
Except to withdraw
Except to
payment
withdraw
of the
payment.
library directors. And the chairman of the library board is not attendant. And she calls the meeting.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, just personally, I don't like the shot at the two of you. It's just unnecessary. All you did was ask them, you're trying to help them. That was totally unnecessary.
So let me ask a question, Law Director, if I could. If we choose to withhold pay and they show up to work, that's a labor issue, right? That can create another set of problems.
I would recommend sending a written notice that due to us not having properly identified start times and pay rates, that you don't have to return to work till X day or until communicated with. I mean, we can do some sort of notice to them to cover that, but to be perfectly honest, from a legal perspective, for me, this is a no good deed goes unpunished here. But from a legal perspective, I don't think it's a choice of whether or not you pay them or don't pay them if they have that meeting from this point forward. I don't think you can. It has not been done properly. So if you give them a timeline, that window collapses, the payments need to stop.
Is there a clawback, portion of this?
Well, what are you clawing back? Actual hours worked? So that becomes the litigation point. What's the clawback part?
The salaries paid that have not been approved.
I think you would pay them for what they worked.
Exactly.
At their new rate, or at the rate that is voted upon.
That's not a problem, and that can be adjusted
So
for.
when we talk about clawback, it would be clawback.
I would gladly give that to the library committee to discuss and take care of. I don't want that item.
Yeah, I actually personally think clawback would be too punitive here, just given the fact they're coming to work doing the job. We didn't get the administrative part of that right, but I do think that a notice saying, hey, done work until we get this straightened out is the right thing to do.
So if I understand this correctly, we're gonna give them a week to cure it.
Let's say not Friday this week, but
Friday a week. Hour minimum on the special
So
call
you give them till
notice.
next Friday to cure it.
12.
And I emailed them 2 weeks ago and asked them to cure.
And
I think that's a fair amount of time.
And after Annette sent the email that you have the copy with the blue, I wasn't sure if they would know what ratify meant, so I sent them, the library board, an email that says, hey, don't laugh at me about that. It took me forever to figure out what ratify meant.
I get it.
So I sent them, this needs to be voted upon ASAP to make sure. And I said, we can have a special call meeting. You only need 40 hours notice. The chambers or the room was open on these days at these times. Just all you have to do is say to discuss salaries and start dates and vote upon. So Erica wouldn't be stressed out about having to figure out how to do any of this. And she had the chambers reserved for Friday at 4 o'clock, because I called Leanne in your office when I was trying to schedule what I was doing for Friday. And she said, well, it's scheduled, but there were no notices anywhere. So not even, I had her go down the hall and check on the bulletin board. It's just important that we follow the process. And, you know, none of y'all are shocked that I like process, because you've heard me say it 100 times.
Room 112 is open Friday the 12th at whatever time.
Well, they can have it before then. They can have it.
Well, they can have it anytime. Well,
Is it supposed to be open on Wednesday?
Wednesday the 10th.
Yeah. At 4 o'clock?
And before we close up on this final vote, since we never did vote to come back into, under the rules, Ms. Parker, do you have anything else to say as a library member?
About the onboarding process, because being new, and we do not have a complete set of bylaws and policies. I don't know if anybody on board that have a complete set of what that looks like. And so I'm just surprised that they were allowed to start work if it was known that we had not voted on this. I guess that's the part that I'm confused about, was why they got to start at all if we didn't, if it was, maybe those dots had not been connected yet, I don't know. But that to me is a bit, as a bit of a puzzle.
When I reached out to her and asked her what the start dates were, I told her she didn't know at that point. That was on 31st. I sent her an email asking her to forward it to the new directors of what they would need to bring for the onboarding. And told her to let me know that they could come no sooner than 2 days before their start date, that they had to come no later than their start date. And then I was notified they started today. So I told them that we had to have them in the office that day to complete the paperwork. So they came on the 31st.
She is the library director.
Chair of the board.
Okay.
Ms. Kramer.
incredibly disconcerting when I'm gonna be held responsible for the processes of things, because there were only 3 people involved in the interviews other than the candidates. We didn't have any type of documentation about what those ladies had been offered or any of that. And, you know, all of that was happening when I first joined the board, so I wasn't 100% sure about the process of how all that works. But it does bother me that they started without all the things settling. But it just sounds like to me there were several dots that just weren't being connected, partially because of changeover and new people with us on the board.
All right, thank you. All right, so we have a motion, we have a second.
Would you restate the motion, because I can't
Yes.
remember?
So my motion is that I would like to give the library board until next Friday. Somebody have a date? The 12th, to cure these issues. And at that time, I assume that they're going to get it cured, and at that time, if they don't, we will put the 2 employees in a leave of absence status, opposed. Do you have a?
I was just wondering, with the law director, it sounds like if it's not cured, then I don't know that leave of absence would be appropriate, because they haven't been through the right, what would be the right terminology there?
They would just,
Be not employees.
they would not have any scheduled time to work, basically.
So I think that, would our motion then just be, you've got until December 12th to get this cured, or?
We don't have librarians.
Termination opposed to absence.
We can't terminate.
No, I don't think it's termination, but I just wonder, I wonder what the right.
Yeah,
What it is,
just, that,
I feel certain that they'll get it done.
yeah, I can create some verbiage, but the key is that they're not terminated, but they're
I don't
not
want them
needed at
terminated.
work
Yeah.
until
No,
this gets
I think
rectified.
It's just ridiculous that we're put in this position.
Yeah, because I don't know if we have the authority to even put them on a leave of absence.
Right.
The only thing we can do is withhold pay.
Mm-hmm, true.
And that's probably the right phrasing. Yes.
There we go, I like that.
It's just ridiculous that this committee's in this position.
Absolutely.
And I will apologize, but I didn't notice it before I did.
What's your fault?
Well, I'm on the library board.
But it makes a mark to fix it.
I tried,
But
I
also,
wasn't certain. All right, so we have a motion and a second, asking the library to cure this by the 12th, or we will, cease payment and do the proper notification.
But let me just, one more thing. If we withhold payment and they continue without a leave of absence notice, basically don't come to work until we get it resolved, I think it could potentially be a labor issue. It's not even part of this discussion when you're asking the board to
but by
come in
state
and work.
law, are they even hired with no start date and with no vote on the, no
But we
vote
can't
on start date
terminate,
or salary?
but we could put them on a leave of absence and cease paying them, because I think this motion needs to be, include what steps we need to think about, because if I understand stop and pay, I get that, that's pretty straightforward, but it's what we do with the employee. I mean, do they continue to come in and work, even though they're not getting paid? I would say no, but can we put them on official leave of absence until that happens?
I wonder if we need to have the law director or somebody over the event to send a communication to the library board chair. The library board can say, you have until this date to do it, and this will happen. Understand this was the vote of the financial management committee, and this is this decision will be binding. So you may not feel it's urgent, but it is urgent.
Yeah, that's not urgent, I don't know what is.
It's not a problem. I mean, that's the will of the committee.
Well, we haven't voted. Any more discussion? Any more restatement? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So the motion passes. Ms. Williams, you're up. The next is the report of the trustee. I do, but I thought we'd get you up here in case anybody had any questions.
Let me ask you, I got one quick question on the interest rates that you got quoted. How sensitive are some of these instruments that we've got now that as the rates come down probably next week again? Do we have it locked in at a definite period of time, or will they ratchet down when those rates start coming down?
Of course, the CDs are set right. The money market, and then our bank account can fluctuate.
We expect them to start coming down. And I don't know what the revenue number generated off investment income, but that's just something that we need to think about. How you plug that into your revenue calculation, but that's going to start coming down.
I have a shareholder, very interested Excel sheets that they would develop.
Yeah.
There's a nice cushion.
We plug a lot of numbers.
There may be some bonds that are callable too. There may be some bonds that are callable too. I don't know.
Just throw a number in.
I'm gonna add this, since we discussed Mr. Neal. I asked him if David gave him the black book of codes for the Excel sheets.
They're
The
amazing.
formulas.
Thank you, ladies. Back on topic. Ms. Williams, before the meeting, there was a gentleman here, a banker from J.P. Morgan. He said he had looked through your rates and he was very complimentary.
Oh.
He has since left, but I instructed him to come by and speak with you. But yes, he did say our rates look good. He said for him to come in and compete, he's not currently one of our vendors. It would be tough to compete against some of the rates we're getting. So he independently came by and I asked him to reach out to you.
I think our local banks have done a great job of taking care of
Excellent. And I was glad to hear that from from the bank, J.P. Morgan, because Cash Vest doesn't think the same thing, but that's another day of conversation. Does anybody have any more questions for the trustee? Thank you, ma'am. Under the report of the finance director, we have Kronos. This meeting has went rather long. We have went through Kronos many times. I like that today we have a listing of who's on Kronos and not on Kronos. If everyone could be up to date on that, let's not say anything else about Kronos today. Everybody in agreement, say aye?
Aye.
Yes, aye.
No.
No, you want to move it.
Gary Becker.
That motion passed. We'll move on. We'll see Kronos again next week, or next month. Have nothing under old business. New business. We have some purchasing issues. I don't think we ever called back into a session under rules, but excellent. Under purchasing, we have the Hendersonville Library. The Canon overpayment. It says overpayment. That's the ink.
Yes.
The ink item has been worked on, and we're waiting for it all looks like it's working out. Is that
They
correct?
did return the ink.
Yes.
They have received it.
Yes. And so now we're going to get a credit.
We would get credit for everything except for the shipping cost to return it.
Yes.
Paid by the operations manager who
Yes.
did it first.
That's $1,000 in that range we'll get back.
Yes.
Cash amount is $3,024.50.
So y'all understand that when the ink is used, it sends a signal to Canon now?
Yes, and this was before I was even
Oh, I know. They were explaining that to me in finance. I didn't know why anybody was in trouble for ordering ink. I didn't know they automatically. So I just want, I think we messed things up. We need to learn from it. So I just wanted to make sure. I know Rachel knows that now, so you mentioned.
She does.
Okay.
No one was really there at the place to tell her that.
I know it.
Trying to help.
I know it. Yeah, no, that's okay.
So I am good with that item. I would only have one quick question. The ink thing, it has to do with all of our copiers, not just Canon, but everybody's ink. Everybody's on a different contract and does a different thing. I
A
assume.
lot of departments on Canon, there are some that use other vendors, yes.
Yeah.
And it's up to each department.
A discussion for another day, perhaps. All right, any more items to discuss about the Canon ink? I don't have any. Excellent. Item B, domain listing solicitations. Can you help me out with what we're...
So, this was also for Hendersonville.
Oh, I do recall this, yes, now. I'm so sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
So, the operations manager had sent in an invoice for payment. She was alerted by our IT team back in the summer that this was a solicitation. It was not an invoice. She submitted it as if it was an invoice. There's no control letters. It's not a bill. It's a solicitation. So the bill did not get paid, and then again in November, we received another of the same thing from the same library, and that was also stopped and not paid. But, Mr. Carter asked us to add this to the agenda.
Yeah, mainly just to understand what controls that we could put in place to prevent this. So,
Well, I'm pretty sure this was part of the training
that you rolled out.
that we had with them, and you mentioned the training. We've met with all 5 libraries. Shannon and Terry was supposed to attend the first one. We had to do them in 2 days. I think that went very well.
I learned a lot. I can do it now.
Probably the library director. So that has been completed, and we did have them sign off on the form that they had attended the training.
Great, thank you.
And we'd also asked, as a prerequisite to the training, that they read the purchasing policy and sign off on that. So we have those as well.
It was a nice package. I attended the training. Purchasing is kind of a arduous task. Yes, yes, it is, actually. So,
That's great team.
but I was glad to, and I thought it was a good training. Did you think it was, Emily? Yeah. I did.
Well, thank you for that.
Yes, thank you, Finance. I know y'all don't want to hear this, but I feel like they should do it once a year.
Not a bad idea.
Huh?
That's not a bad idea.
Actually, I do.
Is that a motion?
I'll make a motion that the library board attends purchasing training once a year.
Second.
Library board.
And I would like to make an amendment.
Library directors.
Okay, and why don't you just do it from the library?
Okay.
That was my amendment.
Because I don't want to be
I'm not one-
accused of telling a constitutional officer
I'm not one to
how to
put more
manage
work on
anything.
finance, but they're a very small part of the county.
Yeah, I don't know if we need a motion per se. I think it's just something we can do to pursue this.
Well, I don't know, because we got some people that don't find urgency in doing lots of things. That was only 20 minutes ago.
If you don't touch it very often, you need to be trained. I don't know how
If I may,
often.
with the elected officials, this really is a policy implementation versus a mandate from financial management. I would think that would be the better route to go, to encourage them to put that in their policies as far as elected officials go.
And we mandated the training from this committee last time. It's now that they went through it. So what's different about that?
They're not elected officials.
No, I mean, if we push it through this committee like we did for them to have the training this last month ago, whatever, what would be the issue of us pushing through a similar request to do it annually?
I'm not saying there's a problem with the library directors.
Okay.
I was talking about going down the road of elected officials.
Oh, having them go. Oh,
Yeah.
I got you.
That's why.
But I like that idea of doing that annually. I think that you have turnover and you have other things that happen that you can, and things change, rules change, laws change. And it's a good way to have a reminder. It helps the finance team. I know it's work to do the training, but it will make your life easier when you're not here talking about things like this. And that helps the correction piece of this, I think. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
So Shannon made a motion. I believe you
I second it.
I
You
withdrew it,
withdrew it.
so unless you wanna do it,
I don't have to unsecond that, do I?
you do. If I withdraw my motion, there's nothing to say.
So I'll make a motion that finance does develop a training, class and offer it to, not whoever, perhaps, but to new employees, to people with exceptions, or people that y'all think will benefit from it. I guess whoever.
I think it's too loose, actually.
We have videos and written procedures on our website of all these processes. We printed them off and talked to them about them. So it's not that the information's not there, and it's not that the departments can't reach out to us if they have questions. So I don't want people thinking we're not available to assist them. We are. And there's the information on the website as well that they can look at. And we try to when we're notified that there's a change in the department, sometimes our AP teams will ask to know. But when we're notified, we do reach out to them and offer assistance, so.
What do you think, as in finance, would this help them to do an annual training for lottery staff?
If they follow what we teach them.
Maybe do it year two, and let's see how it goes. I mean, I think you won't know if it actually stuck until we go through another year and see how many we come up with.
I think too, it'd be a great idea when our new finance director comes in, whoever that is, to be able to put together some plans on working with the departments and elected officials. All get, because I think that'd be a good time to all get on the same page.
Well, and with Beth being the interim and having no deputies, y'all don't need the extra stress. It just occurred to me.
Maybe they are not sure.
All right. So we'll just table this item and see if it arises again in the future.
But thank you anyway, ladies.
Excellent.
I'm glad it was a great training.
It was. I actually learned a few things that we need to consider in here. I've got to go back to my notes. I have several policies that we need to consider. Under new business, item 2, under A, purchasing, highway department. Do you want to tell us from finance, or Mr. Ellis, do you want to tell us from highway about this item? Can y'all walk us through what happened here?
I'll start it, Beth, you jump in anywhere you want to. I come in and we'd had some emails from Mindy and Christy going back and forth, and Mindy was asking a question on where the PO stopped and where the new one started, and we were in a process of, there was not enough money in the PO to start the new project, and I talked to Rogers Group, and so, there's times that, they've got other customers, they come in and they'll pay 1 month, they may skip a month and come back, and I'm trying to schedule them to come in and start as soon as possible after the PO gets started, and the question was asked, did we do any work in the month of August? Well, we didn't do any paving, but what happened when I went back and looked at my notes, I found out that we did do the last week of August, they did some cleanup work, prepping to start paving in the next month, September. So it was about the middle of the first week they actually started paving, which was on time, and that was communicated correctly. But what they didn't realize with the information I gave them, they didn't really need to start any work until after the PO. And so there was prep work that was done the last week of August in preparation of getting started after the PO was approved. And I was not really thinking about that when it was done, because we knew we were going to start, we knew the money was there, and we were just trying to move along as efficient and use the best time that we had to get as much done as we could. Beth contacted me and said, what is something going forward that we can do? I said, well, I can communicate Rogers Group thoroughly on that end of a hard start and communicate with Beth and Finance and let them know the hard start of after the PO. We're starting actually this date, so $1.5 million, and the invoice for the work that had been done was $948,000.
All that in a week?
No, it wasn't a week.
That was for the end of August, it was,
Gotcha.
went through 9/26.
Yeah, there'd been several weeks leading up to that.
But the PO was obtained on August 28th, so there were a few days of service before the actual PO.
But, you know, I will say this, we've done really well last year. We've not had any, issues whatsoever. It's been about a year and a half, and Beth says, well, I can give you your one exception. And so I still knew we were gonna talk about it, and full transparency, these things weren't really billable items, but it is work. Technically, they shouldn't have been doing it. It's tied to the asphalt, that's the billable items, right? But I wanted to bring that to the committee and let you know the time of when they started the prep work was not right.
Is anybody else in your organization that you trained as a result of this, or is it mainly something you
No,
handle?
it's really, my office personnel is where, you know, we sit down and talk about it, and I said it needs to be a hard start, it needs to be communicated between us and send the email. I will send the email to finance, and everybody's on the same page.
That's helpful, thank you.
How many miles did you get?
A lot this year. And it's been nice having.
I want to understand just for me, when you contract with Rogers, so like, this is just me, I'm just trying to understand. So you say, hey, we need you to go do road A over here for us. Is this a complete package? They do the whole thing for you, or are they doing parts for you, or
No,
they're doing the asphalt? And you know, I'm not.
They've got bid items for milling and paving.
So was this the whole package?
What do you mean?
Like, did they do, like, the whole road, whatever you had them, whatever you contracted them for? Or were they doing pieces of it? Or, I don't understand.
I don't understand your question.
And I don't understand highway.
I'm just saying they did what we contracted them to do. They were doing, there's work that they do like milling and paving items. And
Okay.
we go in, we do some of the work. We do degrassing and different things and culvert repairs, and we make sure the road's ready for them to come in and start. In some cases, they have to mill and do cleanup work before they pave, but that's part of their whole package. So there was some work that I'm saying that was tied to the paving that they did before the PO landed, but they weren't paving. And so when I communicated with them, I said, we're gonna get our PO probably this coming week. Y'all can start the first week of September. That's what they did, but it was the paving they started, and there was some work that they did before, and so technically the time was off there a few days, probably 4 or 5 days. And you could say I was being overzealous maybe, but we're in a time crunch. We're always looking at weather. There's other variables to it. They're fixing to start a state job, and which hurts our production. And so I have to keep an eye on my paving crew is paving out across the plains. Rogers Group is paving out of Gallatin, so we don't interfere with each other's production and have an overabundance of trucks at one asphalt plant. So there's a lot of variables that go to it, and I'm trying to manage to where there was some weeks we had 3 paving crews paving in Sumner County at once, which is a beautiful thing. We're getting a lot of roads done.
So how do we prevent this from in the future? We'll just make sure that
it's just emailing the hard start with the PO and stating when we're starting.
So that'll be what you do, is email to make
That's what I
sure.
was just saying with me and my office personnel, make sure we're communicating with finance. So when the PO goes in effect, we're letting them know which day we're starting. So we don't have to go back and re-look through the notes and stuff and figure it. That way it's no confusion on them because they know we're not starting to this day.
Excellent. Anything else, gentlemen? Excellent. The next item is item B, emergency purchase orders. We have one item on here. It was, they needed a heater, and their heater went out.
Needed a heater went out, we fixed it.
Excellent. It is a very small, it's not a material amount. I think so. Do we have, a listing of maintenance items or something? Because I believe at one point, and I tried to go back and look, that when we have equipment that breaks down and stuff like that, we're not, it's a gray area with the emergency, but we needed it because they had sensitive medical items in that bay and stuff. But just to say, we have a listing of maintenance and
Well.
that we know, we're supposed to know what's coming at us, so we don't have
Well,
emergency.
no, not really. I mean, we have a graded list of our HVAC, we have a program in place.
Excellent, that's all I needed to hear.
Well, the problem is, and this is a problem, is when one goes out, we have to bid that unit. Even if it's only $14,000, we have to go through a sealed bid process because we've replaced two in the year and exceeded, what, 25,000? Once we exceed 25,000, then we've got to bid, even though we've got it budgeted, we have to bid each unit, regardless how small that unit is. The archive, we had to bid that out, I think it was $14,000. This, we would have, if it wasn't an emergency, we would have had to do a sealed bid, takes about a month,
I understand.
at least for $8,000. But that's a lot. So, just to let you know, that's very frustrating.
I feel that. I think there should be another something in there.
But there's nothing that we can really do about it.
All right, thank you. Anybody have any questions about that emergency purchase? No actions needed. Let's, motion to adjourn.
Motion.
I think we have.
Oh, he did, yeah, to Toby in there. You need to know that for more often.
I told y'all, if you make it to the bottom, you don't have to make the motion, but we'll still put Toby